But if you have delusional parasitosis, you believe you're already infested. If society and the scientific community take him seriously, maybe he'll get relief. Which is why he'll take solace in people who are as frustrated as he is. Guys, there's a suspect pool we've been missing all along. Chronic fatigue syndrome? Morgellons? Believe they have disease-causing fibers under their skin. They collect them only to later be told by dermatologists that all they found is lint, dead skin, or their own pick scabs. There's also patients who insist the fibers are insect-like in nature. It's for amputees with searing pain in their phantom limbs. Basically, you take a patient, you put them in front of a mirror, and you tell them to conduct a symphony, to wave, or just to relax. You could argue that his itch was the same thing as phantom limb pain. I mean from a brain nervous system feedback loop. Documented case about a woman who couldn't stop scratching even when she was asleep. She woke up one morning realizing she'd scratched through her own scalp, her skull, and directly into her brain tissue.
That was spooky.
What do we know about him? Which suggests they were actually released. Possibility of there being a partner. His muscles were severely atrophied. It's possible he spent the duration of his captivity restrained. What about splinters and puncture wounds? Any sign of those? A box. A wooden one, and I'm guessing it wasn't very big. Nails. The box was probably homemade. So it's a single unsub. Transcripts. Sorry, the transcripts from the police interview. Mrs. Wilcox, do you remember anything unusual about the night Tommy disappeared? No, nothing. Sorry, ma'am, I went to the store to buy toilet paper, and when I got back, I couldn't find it. But what could that have to do with anything? Oh God, I can't believe this is happening. And I think I may have found something interesting. The hull of an airplane is really just a bunch of round barrels riveted together. The wing, however, is a masterpiece. This is important because an airplane wants to be nose up. It creates positive G's, that sensation you get when you're forced into the back of your seat. Negative G's, on the other hand, are an entirely different matter. No evidence of gaping holes or pieces of the fuselage torn in areas without seams to suggest impact with an external object like a missile. So the fact is, the way the plane broke apart, I think the crash was caused by something internal. Plane porpoised on and off for the last 3 minutes it was airborne. It's just all in my head. You can give hackers access to a plane's computer. We've seen it before with a helicopter. We're no longer looking for a terrorist, we're looking for a serial killer. That's near the last victim's abduction site. She isn't sick, is she? The last victim's hands and legs were bound before the unsub forcibly submerged him. We thought it was random mutilation. Whoa. It's not slashes. It looks like Roman numerals. It looks like Roman numeral 5, which means there are 2 more bodies out there. Why don't you answer that? I was like that after I shot the LDSK. First, I felt nothing, and then looked up photos of him when he was in the Rangers. I studied cases he worked when he was a cop. Even patients he treated while he was a nurse. I just wanted to get inside of him. I wanted to try to understand why our paths crossed and to see if there was some way that he could have been stopped before I came along. All the people he killed. I put their photos on my wall. Just were missing 2 earlier victims. It's shaped more like a casket. He's probably in the 6th circle. Dan Chen was found in the mud. The other guy was crushed to death. I don't think these are random MOs. This unsub's recreating the circles of hell. The 5th circle's wrath, where sinners were drowned. Most likely a sibling that suffered the same fate at the hands of an abusive father. Guys, with circles 7, 8, and 9 left, we're running out of time. So it triggered the killing. And a plane crashes happen within 3 minutes of takeoff or 8 minutes of landing. How large was the spread? You've been quiet. You know, a disaster of this magnitude is really hard to wrap your mind around, let alone your feelings. So sorry. can imagine this must obviously bring back a lot of painful memories. Oh, she sounds terrific. My girlfriend was killed in front of me, and my mom has schizophrenia. Since we're sharing. Wow. Flame came from that way. Vomit. A man pad, a shoulder launch surface to air missile were used. Possible the plane was brought down to 20,000 feet to get it into man pad target range. This is just the beginning. None of the victims matched any missing persons reports and were likely chosen for their anonymity. Both females were in shape, not malnourished. It's unlikely they were transients. What do we know about the offender? Followed a line like a surgeon would for breast augmentation. He removed her implants. Was taken from Riverside. That's more than 2.5 hours away from here. The ME says he's gotten better at ligating each victim, which means he may have had practice. There's an necrotomophile, but that sort of attraction typically is deep roots in childhood. Anyone fired recently? But just all in my head. It's just all in my head. Yeah, you? Dr. Lee sent this over. The most recent victim had more than just leather particulates in her stomach. Also found traces of horsehair. He's using a bridle. So either specific to his fantasy. One more glass of champagne, then you know. I'm the first to say that I'm not perfect, and you're the first to say you want the best thing. But hi. Sadly, he was not the only one. He got us started. It's not really my crowd. Agent Hotch's office is the first one at the top of the... Good luck. Hotch is interviewing someone we've met before. I'm just reading here, the ME thinks the victims were alive for 48 hours while he disarticulates. He wouldn't go to these extremes if he were merely discarding the limbs. He obviously enjoys the ritual. It's some kind of torture. What's in Atlanta? Those are also the kind of stories that put him in harm's way, though. Any one of them could have gotten him killed. Stillman was bound, but the unsub cut him loose. He wanted him to scratch. Maybe the unsub wants his victims to feel what's going on inside of him.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, and comments for updates.